Quonda Renee here. I am a digital marketing expert. I help pastors and leaders get exposure on social media. And today I wanted to come and do a video in regards to Facebook and Facebook marketing. And in particular, what I want to talk about on Facebook is what's your Facebook story? Now, when I say Facebook story, I'm not talking about the little place that allows you to upload little 20-second videos or images. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what is the story that you tell on your Facebook page. And I have about 4 or 5 Facebook profiles that I want to take a look at and see if we can gather what their story is from looking at their page. When someone lands on your Facebook page, within 5 seconds, they should know what your account is about, what your brand represents, what your ministry represents, what your company represents. Within 5 seconds, they should know what you represent. So I just picked 5 random companies and some personal brands that I want to look at and see, just to kind of give you an understanding of what I mean when I say what's your Facebook story. So here is one. This is a minister or a pastor, and I wanted, like, if I didn't know who she was, would I be able to tell what she's about? So the 2 most valuable spaces or biggest piece of real estate on your Facebook page is your Facebook profile pic and your Facebook cover or video photo, your cover photo or your cover video. So those are like 2 of the most important places or pieces of real estate that Facebook allows you to have. So when someone encounters this, especially from a desktop view, within 5 seconds, they should know what you all are, what your brand or what your ministry or whatever it is you're selling, whatever you represent, they should know that within 5 minutes or 5 seconds, excuse me. So we're going to look at this account today, and this is Pastor Paula White. Excuse me, I'm about to call her McCain. This is Pastor Paula White Kane, and this is her Facebook page. So when I first come onto her page, I know that it's a public figure or a person because I see that it's a woman in this, and this is okay. But when we look at her cover photo, you don't necessarily know that she's a pastor unless you know her. I don't get that from looking at officially Paula White Kane Facebook page and then the website and Twitter. I don't get that from her cover photo. So this is what I kind of want to get into. Like, your Facebook profile picture and your cover video or photo should be it should represent your target market or your avatar, the person that's connected to your brand, the person that you want to reach. That should represent in your both your profile pic and in your cover photo. Now here, like I said before, if we don't know that, if I didn't know she was a pastor, I wouldn't know what her page represents. And if you have 5 seconds to get someone's attention, you wouldn't grasp that from just looking at her page or just looking at the top of her page. So, I think what I would do if I was on her marketing team, I would, well, knowing who your target audience is, that's like the most important step. Like, before you go creating all these posts and doing all these things, you need to know who your audience is. And if I was working on her marketing team, I would definitely show who my audience is within this piece of real estate right here. Within this graphic, I would speak to my target audience. So that's a very, very important step that a lot of people miss on Facebook, because they kind of just treat it as this is my brand, so it's just going to be all about me. But no, if you want to reach your target audience, you have to make it less about your brand and more about the people you serve. So I would probably change this even into a video, maybe like a collage of her speaking, or like her in the preacher mode, like something that represents that she is a pastor or a speaker, something that represents that. So I would definitely change this text right here, the official Paula White Kane Facebook page. Like, we're on Facebook, so, and we see that this is verified, so we don't need this necessarily. I feel like this is just kind of like a waste of space. Like, so if I was on her marketing team, I would clean this up. Like, the profile pic is fine because this is a personal brand and it's her ministry. That's okay, but to kind of duplicate it here, I think I would change it. And you know what? Who does a good job at this? Let me go to another pastor's page. Pastor Steve Furtick. So this is his profile pic, which is a picture of him and looks like he may be engaging with somebody else. But when you come over to his cover photo, it says, instead of making God your last resort, make faith your first response. So I know from just looking at this picture that he's a speaker or he's a teacher or a pastor or some sort. And I know that it's connected to God and faith and spirituality. So I think he does a good job nailing his cover image. I think within that 5 seconds of me just looking at his page, I already knew what his brand represent. I knew that he must be some type of pastor or some type of spiritual leader. So I think this is a good example. So what the message that I want to get across in this video is basically your cover photo or your cover video, because this could be either a video or a photo. I think Facebook allows you up to 30 seconds. And then your profile pic, you should use those big pieces of real estate that are given to you to impact and to show who you are to your target audience, the people that you want to reach. Like, somebody who may never heard of Steve Furtick can still come on his page. They see him in passing, they click on his link. They'll know within a few seconds that he represents something to do with God and faith and spirituality just from this image alone. There's people, like, you can see his congregation, his target audience is behind him, and he's speaking. Like, this is perfect branding, or this is a perfect Facebook story. And I kind of want to get into, let's go back to, let's go look at Paula White's Kane page one more time. You see here, it's just, we know that we know that she's a significant person because she's verified. But from looking at her cover picture, we don't know what her brand represents. We don't know, like, I only know who she is because I know of her name. And her followers may know her. But what if there's somebody who's just scrolling through Facebook and her name comes up? The bounce rate is probably high because they don't know what she represents. And you have 5 seconds to make that impression because not everybody's going to scroll. So I think that's the important thing that I want to get people to understand. Like, your Facebook profile, whether you're a business, a ministry, a company, a brand, it should tell a story. And it should make people want to go down and scroll. Like, if we go back to Stephen Furtick's page, like, I'm interested now that I know, like, he's instead of making God your last resort, make faith your first choice. And then it says, click watch video to see this week's message, reverse your worry. And it's a clear call to action right here. He has this arrow pointing at the video, at the watch video thing, and that probably take you to his website or whatever. But his message is not only for his target market, but if somebody was scrolling within 5 seconds, you know what he's about. And so let's look at another one I picked out, Hobby Lobby. And then let's see their profile pic. Just waiting for my computer to load. It's going a little slow. Okay, let's see what's going on, Hobby Lobby. All right, okay. I think it's starting to come up. Okay, so their profile pic came up. Okay, now here we are. Okay, so Hobby Lobby. Now, I know of Hobby Lobby because I've been in the store, but if I was just a random person trying to figure out what Hobby Lobby was, I probably would bounce off of this page because the profile pic, it just says Hobby Lobby, and a lot of brands do this. They just put their logo as their public, as their profile image, which is fine. But I think if you really want to nail your Facebook story, you would have pictures of your target market or something that represents your brand here as well. We know that this is Hobby Lobby's page because it says it right here, says it here, that has a verified check mark. Like, we know that this is Hobby Lobby. So I think if they want to hone in a little bit more on their Facebook story, I think they can alter this picture, because we know that this is Hobby Lobby's page. Now, their cover photo, live a creative life. Now, I'm from just being here, if I didn't know what Hobby Lobby was or the brand name or what it sold, I wouldn't know what was going on. I would know that it has something to do with creativity, but that's about it. So if I was working for Hobby Lobby, I would definitely have pictures of whatever's top selling in there in the store. I would have pictures of people maybe even shopping, pictures of your target market and different, I don't know if DIYs is popular in Hobby Lobby, like whatever it is, this whole image would be changed. It would be telling a story. Like, from just looking at this doesn't tell me a story. Like, I would have to scroll, and with Facebook, there's so many distractions. Everybody's not going to scroll. If you got 5 seconds to get their attention, if you don't get it within that 5 seconds, trust me, your bounce rate is going to be high. So I think a lot of people don't realize how much value or how much real estate Facebook gives you. They give you this profile pic, and they give you this cover video or cover photo, and you just have to make use of the value that they've given you. So let's try another one. I looked up Tasty. Let's see how Tasty does. Let's hope that my computer loads. Okay, so from looking at the profile image, I know that it has something to do with food, because I see bacon, I see a donut, I see some strawberries, I see some lemons. So I know that it has something to do with food. Now, looking at their cover photo, I know it does have something to do with food. It does have something to do with cooking. It says an entire kitchen in a box, and this is promoting something that they're selling. I think this is a perfect example of telling your Facebook story. Like, if somebody comes on this page, then they will know that this has something to do with food, with the kitchen, with cooking. Like, they will know this. This is a great example of telling your Facebook story. And it actually makes me want to scroll, because I want to see, what else do you have on here? What do you have on about food on here? So what I want you to take away from this video is two of your most important, even before you get to your content, your Facebook story. What are you telling? What story are you telling? Like, that's one of the most important things that people don't realize when they're doing this Facebook marketing. They're so concerned with their content, but you have to be able to knowing who your audience is, so that way you can create your profile image and your cover image or your cover video. You want to be able to target those people. You want to be able to show your avatar, or you want to be able to show who your customer is or who your target market is in those. And now let me go to one more. Oh no, let's do a fashion one. Let's do Fashion Nova. Let's do Fashion Nova. Let's see what Fashion Nova says. What's Fashion Nova's story? Okay, so again, another brand that just uses their logo as their profile pic, and that's very, very common with a lot of brands. But do you know what? The fact that it says Fashion Nova here, is verified. It says Fashion Nova here. They can even make this a little bit more better. They can take maybe even like some of the girls or some of the jewelry or whatever and put it here. Like, it's just going to allow people to know what they represent and what they're all about faster. Now, as far as this cover video, I think this is actually good, because we know that it has something to do with fashion. It makes you think maybe high like luxury type of fashion. So I think their cover video is pretty good. I think it should speak to their target audience. We know that their audience is women, because it's clearly all different types of women in this this video. So yeah, I think Fashion Nova did pretty good on their cover video. I just think they could, if they want to, I think because people know who they are, and the name is right here, I think they could hone in just a little bit more and maybe just include something that has to do with fashion, because you know, we know that this is their page, so we don't really need this just to be your logo. But again, a lot of companies do it. But I think if you really want to hone in on telling your Facebook story, you would just change it a little bit. Like, maybe even if you insist on keeping Fashion Nova, make it smaller, have some girls in the back with you know, with some of their clothing on or their items. So I think overall, I think Fashion Nova does a good job with telling their Facebook story. Now let's try BET. This is interesting to see what their Facebook story is. And these are just accounts I randomly picked as I was scrolling through my account, and I'm just like, you know what, this will be a good to talk about in a video. And I think the next video I'm going to do, I'm going to get into more like the content, but I think before you could get into the content, you kind of need to hone in on the two that I've discussed this entire video, the profile pic and your cover video, your cover photo. Okay, so BET is like most other brands with the logo as their main image. Again, I think they can alter this. It looks like they're promoting the Soul Train Awards for tonight, so I see why this is their cover video or cover photo. But I think I think if this is just for tonight, that this is fine. But I think they could have even had maybe a clear call to action. I don't know if they let people watch their videos on their website or whatever, but if they do, they could have like put like an arrow, kind of like Steve Furtick, and so people could click here at 8 o'clock and go watch. But I think like if this is, I'll have to come back another day and see is this what exactly their cover photo is, because I don't think this tells their Facebook story. I think this just tells what's happening tonight. And there's nothing wrong with changing these, because you'll go through them, you'll rotate them out, especially if you have different events. But if you really want to tell your story, I think you kind of have to look at people like Fashion Nova, people like Tasty, and people like Steven Furtick. Like, I think they did a good job. I think this will need work, but I think I'll come back on a later date and see what their Facebook story is. Because looking at this, if I know nothing about BET, I just know that, okay, tonight they're showing the Soul Train Awards, so I'm assuming that it's a television station. But who's their target audience? Like, I don't get that from this picture. So yeah, so the two important things that I want you to take away from this video is your Facebook story. What is your Facebook story? And remember, I'm not talking about the stories you get to upload, your little pictures and your 20-second graphics. I'm talking about when people first land on your Facebook page, what is the story that is being told about your brand? And these two big pieces of real estate that Facebook allows you to have, they should call out your target market. Your target market shouldn't come on here and be able to know, okay, this page is for me. Like, if a person has never heard of your brand, never heard of your company or your ministry, they should be able to tell exactly in 5 seconds what you represent, what you're all about, before even scrolling down, because some of them won't even keep scrolling if you don't grab their attention here. So think about that. Think about, what is your Facebook story? What is the story that you're telling others when they first log onto your page? You have to think about it from the perspective, of the consumer, the perspective of your target market. And a lot of brands and companies get this wrong because they make these two things about the brand and not about their target market. They don't make it about who they wish to serve. So those are the two things that I want you to think about. And you know, I'll come back and we'll do some more videos and we'll look at other people's story. But your homework for today, for tonight, for this morning, whenever you're listening to this video, is to figure out what your Facebook story is. What's the story that your ministry, that your business, that your company is telling? And again, thank you for joining me. My name is Quonda Renee, and I will see you in the next one.